because a guna is just a way of describing one of the three modes of life energy. Rajas is like the active, fiery, masculine side of life energy, the yang, you know, and tamas is the yin, you know, the inert, inactive quality, and sattva balances that. It's just describing how energy moves in life. So what is the energy that's moving Leo? Well, it's sattva, because Leo is here to influence and leave an impression and make the world a better place and uplift society. That's what Leo wants to do. They want to be a bright sacrifice. They want to share the light that's coming into them. They want to give it to everybody else so that they can be uplifted by it, benefit from it. You know, they want to give a gift to the world. So that's a sattvic motivation, you know, to do something from the disposition of sacrifice, to do something for something that's not just about you, is a sattvic motivation. It's a self-transcending motivation. So that's why it's a sattvic sign.
Okay, so the caste is next. And when we talk about caste, we're really talking about temperament. We're not talking about anything other than that. So what Leo is a Kshatriya or warrior caste. And because he's a Sattva sign, he has the desire to lead and protect on account of their noble ideals. So Leo has a very, well, there's a nobility there. This is why he's called the royal sign. You know, he's the king in the zodiac. And royalty, or the king, has noble ideas. He's the one who has the vision for the people, which always makes me think of the scripture, without a vision, the people perish. So that is the king's job, is to have a vision of the way things can be better and lead his people to that vision, which is why certain politicians get elected by most people, because of his vision for the future. That's what that's really about. It's why the sun rules politics. Now, I don't understand why politics as a business tends to be so dirty when the sun is so noble, and that's something I haven't figured out yet. I don't know. I'm still contemplating that. Do you have any insight into that? Not that I want to go off on a tangent, but...
Well, I think it could be the lower side of Leo, which is prone to narcissism, you know, which would just, you just want to keep all the light to yourself. So then people get in politics just to promote their own self-interest. They're not looking out for the people anyway. They're just looking out for themselves. That, you know, Leo can do that too. If it's a pathology, though. Yeah.
So if Saturn is afflicting it or something like that.
Something is making the sun in the chart unhealthy, or yeah, exactly. There could be, you know, some of the nodes maybe aspecting, Rashi aspecting, something like that.
Or something else. I don't know, because Barack Obama, he had the sun in Leo.
Right.
With Rahu and Mercury, and aspected by his Atmakaraka, Saturn in Capricorn.
Interesting.
Which was interesting. I thought that was interesting. I've noticed that with all the presidents, Saturn seems to be prominent in some way. Not all of them, but most of them.
You got to have some persevering strength.
Persevering strength, and also you represent the people, the common man.
Right.
With Saturn.
Servants.
Right. Okay, so I guess that kind of, I'll let that be for now.
Okay.
Somehow.
Good.
So do you want to talk about the... Oh, wait a minute. There's a little bit more on caste. I forgot. Sorry. So the signs are related to the 12 houses of the zodiac. I mean, the 12 houses of the horoscope. And the first house, the fifth, and the ninth houses are Dharma houses, or houses of philosophical duty. And they correlate to the goal of Kshatriyas, or warriors, and to the fire signs. And Leo is the natural ruler of the fifth house. So the fifth house is creativity in a general kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it rules children too, because they are the creative product.
That's right.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to say about that, and how that is their, you know, the Dharma houses, or what the fire signs are particularly interesting?
Well, Dharma houses, you know, Dharma means so many things. It's often translated as righteousness, truth. Mm-hmm. You know, the path of truth, the path of righteousness, the law. That's also Dharma. Law, teaching, you know, Dharma is so many things. But Leo basically, you know, and those houses are associated with the warrior caste because, like you said, these are the houses of Dharma. These are the houses of righteousness, you know, where there's something that needs to be upheld, right? Dharma is not something that is. It's something that needs to be upheld, you know. People can desecrate the teaching. People can wander off the righteous path. People can fail to fulfill the natural laws of life, you know. But Leo and warriors in general, you know, warrior caste in general, are interested in upholding those very things. That's what they're about. They're here to fight for truth. They're here to fight for righteousness, you know.
Yeah. I really like Kshatriyas. They're one of my favorite castes. So
it's a very noble aspiration.
Yeah. So now we're on to the concept of day strong and night strong signs. So some signs are strong and vigorous during the day, and some are strong and vigorous at night. Leo is a day strong sign, which makes sense considering it's the summer and it's the sun, right? And day strong signs are energized by bringing things into concrete realization. And day strong signs are full of know-how. So Leo is a day strong sign, and he is full of know-how. And because he maintains the summer, he's actually quite good at management, which is usually a Mercury thing. But what's interesting in the relationships of the planets, the sun is a friend to Mercury. And Mercury is the prince, and he's the one who does a lot of the concrete manifestation, and the sun helps Mercury. And I think it's because the sun has the authority to authorize whatever the prince or Mercury wants to do, needs to do. At least that's my educated guess. Do you have anything on that?
No, I think that's pretty good. I mean, the sun is in charge, you know, and it empowers the prince who's going to do all of it. So that's a huge help, you know.
Yeah. So now we can go on then to front rising and front and back rising signs, which this is so unique to Vedic astrology. I haven't heard anything like this in Western astrology. There might be something in traditional Western astrology. Now that I think of it, I vaguely remember something about the planets, the characteristics of the planets as they rise above the horizon. But I don't remember what it was. But anyway, I think this is a fascinating. Okay, so front rising and back rising signs. So signs are considered to rise over the eastern horizon with either their fronts first or their backs first. And signs that rise front first have an easy time bringing their tasks to concrete realization. Signs that rise back first are clumsier or slower in bringing things to concrete realization. And so as a result, they take more time. But Leo is front rising and therefore full of know-how and very able in bringing things to concrete realization. And Leo has the consistency and steadfastness that most things require. Like you were saying earlier about the fixed nature of the sign. Yeah.
I wonder if all day strong signs are also front rising or not. Because there's a similarity between those two categories.
There are a few signs that have exceptions, like Gemini, for instance. He's dual. He's night strong because he's full of ideas, but he's also front rising, full of know-how. And I believe Pisces has that same. Pisces is different because it's two fish. I think it's both front rising and back rising.
They're both dual signs, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Right, but Virgo, the other dual sign, it's I believe it is. I don't remember right now, but we'll do that one next.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. It's just interesting.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you listening, when you study astrology, there's so much to know. You cannot possibly memorize everything. So just remember that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an acupuncturist, you know? They all have their go-to manuals. I mean, nobody has memorized every single point. You do need to have reference. So astrology needs reference as well. There's a lot of points to keep track of.
There's a lot. It's a lot of information. Eventually, over time, the things that are important for you to remember, you will remember.
That's right.
Other stuff, you can just look it up. Okay, so you want to take the feet then? The feet of the signs?
Okay, so signs are, 4-footed or 2-footed or many-footed, or they can have no feet, or they can be moving in water. So this shows, the four-footed signs. Leo is a 4-footed sign. These are the strongest signs because naturally they have more feet, so they have more means to carry things through. If a 4-legged creature is capable of carrying something on its back, okay? Yeah. Whereas like a 2-footed creature, like we are, humans, there's a limit to what we can carry, just the way that gravity works. But when you're 4-footed, gravity enables you actually to carry a lot. So the 4-footed signs can carry big burdens, psychological burdens, because they're very strong. They have a strong back, a strong spine, you could say.
Yeah.
They're also capable of having good, perseverance. They can carry things through. They can, they can make it from point A all the way to point B, even if it's far away.
And what's also interesting about the 4-footed signs is that they're particularly interested in the 10th house matters of work and command, and they're least interested in the fourth house matters of emotion and psychology. That's mostly left up to the moon.
That's interesting because I have sun in the 10th and moon in the 4th.
That's perfect. Wow, that's nice, actually.
I'm interested in both of those things.
Yeah, well, I have the sun in the 4th, right? The opposite.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think it just means that I use that energy for inner things. I'm much more interiorly oriented in many ways. But yet, here I am doing this work, right?
That's right.
There's built-in contradictions there. So you have a full moon.
That's right, yeah.
And in the 4th house, that's great. I think that's great. So that means your ability to contemplate is really strong.
That's why I meditate, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, okay, now for the Lord of Leo, we've been talking about that all along, and that is the sun. And Leo exhibits the sun's energy in a masculine initiative manner. The sun is steadfast and consistent. The sun in Leo sustains the summer season, the hottest season of the year. Something I want to say about this too is every person I've ever known who was a Leo, even when they're quieter and more introverted, they always have something in their physical nature that you can see is Leo. There's one Leo guy I knew a while back. Everything about him was like a lion. It was like he was barely tamed, and his hair, even though it was straight, it was full and thick. And another woman I know who was a Leo, when I first met her, when she talked to me, her eyes, I knew she was a Leo before she told me because of her eyes. They're tawny eyes. And she had this quality of this sort of mesmerizing or very magnetic. Mm-hmm. And when she talked to me, it was like it took all of my attention. There was I had no attention to spare for anything else. It was just her. And I've noticed that about Leos. Have you?
Yeah, I've noticed that Leos especially tend to have hair.
Yeah.
They have a mane, It's like almost every Leo I've ever met.
All right, now what's interesting about that, though, is that the sun is of little hair.
Right.
And one thing I've noticed about Leos when they rarely don't have hair is they're often the ones who just shave it.
It's like all or nothing.
Yeah, all or nothing. They're like, I don't want to mess with this anymore. I'm just taking it off. I'm going to be bald. I'm going to be bald. Mm-hmm. And, which makes me think of Yul Brenner. Those men who do that and they have that confidence. That is very attractive because that's that assertive masculinity.
Right. Right.
Masculinity.
It's a very masculine thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally is. Okay, so you want to talk about the color of Leo? Because we've been mentioning the colors of the signs.
The color of Leo is yellow.
Which,
so that makes sense. You know? The color of the sun, the color of, you know, also, you know, when we think about the liver and the bile and all those kinds of things, it's often depicted as being yellow.
Oh.
So yellow is an important color for Leo. I think that's pretty straightforward. I mean, the way to apply this knowledge is, again, when it comes to gemstones, which Karen and I mentioned in some earlier videos, that how much we really appreciate Ernst's gemstone system, where the colors correspond to the sign and the crystalline structure of the gem corresponds to the planet. So that's where, you know, the color yellow is important. You'd want a yellow gem for Leo.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you enjoyed this, just hit like and subscribe so that you'll get next month when we talk about Virgo. Goodbye for now.